Alright, hello, good evening if you're watching this live or whatever time hello, whatever time you are watching this, if you're not watching this live. I'm Sean, Librarian Writer Geek. Librarian Writer Geek on Twitch and YouTube. My personal website where you can find links to all my stuff. I just updated it Monday, past Monday, and here's my Blue Sky account if you want to follow me there. It's the only social media I'm really seriously active on. Okay. Let me get through some stuff real quick. Before getting into the main purpose of tonight's stream. So yeah, if you did see last night's stream, yeah, it didn't go so well. I didn't have a good time. If you didn't see it, and you're watching this on Twitch, which I don't know, maybe you are, just don't watch it. Don't watch it. It's let it go away. It's fine. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you have no idea what I'm talking about, because I'm not planning on uploading that stream at all. But short version, I started playing Solasta after a little bit, did my normal spiel for a bit, and then started playing Solasta, and almost, the minute I tried to go off and do, I thought I was going to do some side quests and stuff, the minute I left town, I hit a random encounter that ended up killing, half my party, and it just was that was just kind of the last straw. I kind of decided, okay, never mind, we're not doing this. So, yeah, I have no intention of continuing to stream Solasta. I honestly don't think I'm going to be streaming on Thursday nights anymore, period, because, I don't know. I think things have changed sufficiently. Well, I don't think I'm going to stream on Thursdays. Probably not going to stream on Thursdays because things are crazy. Things have changed sufficiently in my personal life that being able to streaming Thursdays and Fridays is probably a little more than I should be trying to handle right now. And again, I don't think I'm going to be going back to Solasta Lost Valley because it just doesn't. I didn't enjoy it. I haven't been enjoying it. It's just no, this isn't fun. I'm not having fun with this. I feel like some of these combats are way more difficult than I felt like some of those in combats, especially the one, the one with the crows or whatever. That was really the one that kicked it off. This thought in my head is okay, some of these encounters are way harder than they need to be, because that's an encounter that you kind of have to have. I know it's probably, I'm sure it's possible to sneak around and avoid it, but yeah, I don't think it just seems like this is, it's, and since I'm not making any money off of this at all, I figured, you know what? Yeah, I'm not gonna stream this anymore. I'm not having fun with it. I'm gonna play. If I'm gonna stream another game in addition to whatever I play on Fridays, then it's gonna be something I actually enjoy and am having fun with, as opposed to something that's just me banging my head against a wall for an annoying amount of time. Anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna be going back to streaming once a week, probably for the foreseeable future, or until I feel really compelled to try streaming twice a week again. I don't know. In other news, moving on to other topics. Okay, this was fresh news when I talked about it last night, but I'm gonna express it here. So the big dockworker longshoreman strike that had basically shut down ports all across the east coast of the U.S. and through the Gulf into Texas and whatnot. So that got resolved. Seems like pretty good. Like, you know, neither, you know, the striking workers didn't get the raise was not necessarily quite what they were asking for, but it is more than the businesses they were striking against were initially wanted to offer. So that's good. I think there's apparently some talks about automation, and they've also, you know, agreed to extend the current contract through mid-July. So it's like, hey, wow, that collective action, whatever, collective bargaining stuff, it works. And I honestly hope that. But what gets me about this was that it feels like some people apparently learned the exact wrong lesson from the COVID pandemic lockdown and all that stuff. Apparently, it seems like that's what they did. Because instead of, when this happened, a bunch of people apparently got it into their heads that, I need to start stockpiling toilet paper because there might be a shortage. I don't know why they got this idea. I don't know how they got this idea in their heads, but they got that idea in their heads. So now they've kind of may have sort of created a shortage. Good job, folks. So, you know, instead of learning the lesson of like, oh, okay, well, there might be a shortage, so instead of buying up, so I'm gonna just buy a little bit right now, and then there will be enough for everybody, and hopefully we can stretch this out, and it'll be okay. Instead of doing that, they decided, what I need to do is buy up as much as I can right now while there's still a supply, and that way I'll be set for when there's a shortage. Except there isn't going to be a shortage. So it's like, cool, you spent a whole lot of money buying up toilet paper for no damn reason. Good job. And there's probably is a shortage now because you idiots created it. Thanks. But in other news, in actually more local news, I guess I'm going to take a little bit of a dip. Sorry, bit of a downside. Well, not necessarily. So yeah, obviously last week, Hurricane Helene, whatever, came through. I'm in Georgia, if you don't know. And the hurricane came through and it didn't really hit too hard where I live. So, you know, we're okay here. Nothing's happened. Well, nothing from the hurricane really hit here. Like some people may have had some problems. I've definitely seen some trees that fell over or whatnot. That's obviously a concern, but you know, it doesn't seem like anyone. There are certainly parts of Georgia that were hit much harder by the hurricane, and certainly parts of other states that were just absolutely devastated. And you know, if you have the resources and wish to do something to assist with that, obviously there are any number of charitable organizations and funding drives and whatnot. So please direct your money there. But a couple days later, that'll be this past Sunday, there was a fire at a chemical lab, plant, whatever, in the town where I live. You may have actually seen about it on the news. I'm fine. Everyone in my house, everybody where I live is fine. All the fire was the lab, plant, whatever, where the fire was on the north side of the interstate. I live south of the interstate. So that wasn't a problem. The big problem was mostly, okay, we've got a whole lot of stuff locked down. Am I able to leave town, or am I stuck here? I don't know. And that's kind of been a problem. That was the big concern Sunday night, and a lot of places having to close. A lot of people had to evacuate north of the interstate, and that's obviously that's that's that really sucks. A bunch of schools and other stuff had been closed down all week, so that's not great. Probably not great. Though they may or may not have been on fall break or something. I don't know. No, I don't know what the school schedule is in my county. But I do know that schools and other locations have been closed down. There has been a shelter-in-place order, standing shelter-in-place order from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. every day this week. I think I believe tonight is supposed to be the last night, but I don't know. I hope there haven't been any severe. I don't know if anyone's suffered any kind of medical issues from this, or how serious they are. I certainly hope they haven't. And I think there is a distinct possibility that the company that owns this facility will not be rebuilding it, because just glancing at some stuff, it's like, okay, there may have been a whole series of issues, and this place probably should have been shut down a while ago, and it also has kinda not. This is not the first time there's been a fire there, and unfortunately, in addition to all this, the chemical plume has slowly made its way north and eastward, so that a whole bunch of other places miles and miles away kind of had to deal with some of this stuff for at least for a little while, and that really sucks, and I hope that nobody got seriously hurt by that, and I don't know. Okay. All right, one last actual bit of good news. So, hey, we're going to, sandwiching the news. Again, bit of local news. Again, Georgia local stuff. I believe it was this past Monday, maybe? Anyway, okay, so bit of backstory. Some years ago, the Republican-controlled legislature of Georgia decided to pass a 6-week abortion ban. This was a terrible idea because 6 weeks is because, while most abortions happen within a certain period, within like the first trimester or earlier, like, I don't remember the exact number, but it's like, yeah, 6 weeks is not sufficient because, hey, wow, turns out most people who can get pregnant might not even know they're pregnant until after that time period has elapsed. Because, hey, wow, how pregnancies are sort of measured out? Yeah, turns out they measure it from, when was your last period? Okay, you've been pregnant since then. Which means that, even if you're, say, if your cycle is regular as clockwork, that means you'd only have 2 weeks to notice. That means so we'd have 4 weeks of that is already elapsed because you probably wouldn't have no reason to suspect anything's up, which means you really have a 2-week span to deal with this, to decide how you're going to respond to this, which is not enough time to do anything, which is really not a sufficient amount of time to make this kind of a decision. Not to mention the number of hoops I'm sure you'd have to jump through in order to get this procedure in Georgia. But this past Monday, a judge in Fulton County just declared that this law was unconstitutional, and so it is presumably no longer in effect. I believe it is no longer in effect. I have not read the judge's decision, but I've seen some bits of it, and, wonderful little things, like, noting that, okay, this is imposing on the freedom and the privacy and liberty of the pregnant individual. You cannot force a person to carry through a pregnancy if they don't want the pregnancy. You can't do that. You can't do that if that fetus cannot survive outside the womb. No one has any right to determine whether or not the fetus gets to remain there, except the person who owns the uterus, whose uterus it is. It's fairly straightforward. It's for the same reason you can't force someone to donate a kidney, or to donate, or to be a donor for a skin graft. You can't force someone to do that. You can't make someone do that against their will. It's not fair. It's not right. And, hey, government, legislature, you don't get to say anything about this. It's none of your business. You don't have a right to do that. That's not how this works. And I'm glad that this judge laid it out in terms like that, because it's like, yeah, wow, this is fairly obvious. This is both a privacy issue and a personal liberty issue. Like, you can't force people to give up their bodily resources against their will. That's wrong. We all understand that's wrong. Okay? I don't know what's going to happen next with that. I don't know if this is like going to get passed up, if they're going to try to be an appeal of this ruling or not. I don't know, but small wins, yay. This coming out, I don't know whether or not this coming out shortly after news of, oh, hey, here's two black women who, I believe it was two black women, certainly one of them was black, I know that for sure, who died because they were unable to get necessary medical care that would have easily saved their lives, but they were unable to get this care because of this law. And, certainly this is not, this kind of information, this is not new. This is not, it's like, hey, wow, the obvious thing that everyone said was going to happen, if you do this, it happened. Hey, wow, maybe you guys should have really thought about this beforehand, but no, you didn't want to listen to anybody. So anyway, whatever. Score one for the good guys, I guess. Okay. Anyway, now that I've been rambling about other random stuff for 20 minutes, let's get to what we're actually gonna do tonight, which is taking a look at the latest release for Tales of the Valiant. And the Tales of the Valiant from Kobold Press's Tales of the Valiant game, the Tales of the Valiant Game Masters manual? Well, we'll see. Okay. Hold on. Okay. So, yeah, I've already looked at the first two releases. Yeah, this is the Game Master's Guide. Sorry. The GM's Guide, not manual. All right, so yeah, I know a while back I looked at the player's handbook. I didn't look at the monster book, but I didn't really feel a need to look at the. I think it's the monster guide. I don't remember exactly the. I don't remember the exact terminology they've chosen to implement. It's the monster book. I did not take a look at that because it is very much what it says it is. It's just it's mostly a list of monsters, which is fine. But I did take a look at the player's handbook and show some of that off, and I do think it's really cool. I do think it's actually kind of cool that Kobold Press basically put all the they put like all the actual rules to play Tales of the Valiant. They put all of that in the player's handbook, or the player's guide. I don't. Again, I'm not. They put that in the book for the players, so that has like all the rules you actually need. And they released the monster book. They released both of those at the same time. They did the Kickstarter and released both of those at the same time because it's like presumably, hey, wow, here are the two books you actually need to play this game, to run this game and play this game. But then, a while later, they did another Kickstarter for the Game Master's Guide, which I did kickstart, and I got my copy a little more than a week ago, last week, I believe, and was they very since I'm also in the content creator whatever emailing list for Kobold Press, they did ask like, hey, yeah, hold off on this until like the 30th. Please don't look at this until after then, because then it will be out and people can go buy it. And I did double check to make sure that yes, you can actually go and buy this now, so we're good. Anyway, but I did kind of take a quick look at it this earlier, but I have not done a real in-depth look. But so obviously there's some initial guidance of how to be a GM, obviously. So yeah, I kind of like that. We'll see if there's some good advice about prepping a session. We'll see how good that is. Adventures campaigns, we'll see what kind of guidance there is there. Does not look to be like a ton of content there, but obviously there's the chapter on world building, but I think I glanced through the table of content actually a little while ago, and it's like, okay, cool. So it looks like most of this stuff is just extra rules or new or additional rules, or things that maybe don't obviously, like, here's other extra rules for other stuff. They do include more magic items, which I do appreciate. They include, there's a whole chapter which is really about for home brewing, which I think that's actually really nice, like, because just having some basic guidelines of, hey, here's how you here's what you should do with this, just some basic kind of guidance for people who want to create their own content, or even just like convert content, though there are some conversion rules as well. Obviously, hey, here's advice for changing monsters as well, and then, random encounter table. Here's some random stuff. And, cap it off with a list of here's some resources to check out if you want some inspiration. All right. Okay, and we're gonna give you a quick rundown. Here's what you do. Here's all you need to. Here's what your job entails as a GM. Again, lots of art, like in the art. This was fun. Okay. I don't know how to feel. Okay, starting off with the lexicon. I guess that's probably good if you're new to this sort of thing. So that's kind of cool, I guess. Okay, laying out, hey, here's different types of players. Obviously not necessarily player archetypes. Player archetypes. Hey, here's how you maybe get this type of player to engage with the game. Instead, or avoid getting bored. Here's what you shouldn't do. Here's maybe some advice you shouldn't do. Don't punish the power gamer for playing the game too well. Opportunities to earn treasure, regularly provide challenges and encounters, recruit them to help other players learn and master the rules. That is probably really useful. Well, that's honestly this right here is. Nope. Recruit the power gamer to help other players learn and master the rules. That's honestly probably some really good advice for dealing with power gamers. Getting started. I appreciate that. They're saying, hey, if you want to, start small and build out. Sure, yeah, you don't. That's some basic advice I've seen elsewhere. Is like, you don't need to build the world for your player. Don't need to build the big world and then start zooming in. You can really it's probably better to just start with, here is the town and maybe some stuff to do around the town, and then build from there. Okay. Liking this, hey, yeah, you're not going to be perfect, and that's okay. Let's see. All professional GMs were just starting out once upon a time. You can bet the early games were messy, just like the rest of ours. That's nice. That's good to know. Up. I have the set recommendation of doing a session 0. Awesome. Again, some of this art, I love it. House rules. Prepping for a session. Session 0 checklist. It's your first session ever? Okay. Playing someone who has experience GMing or playing or just loves rules, ask them to be your mechanical advisor. That's nice. And limit number of players. Yeah, that's probably a really good idea. Don't want to overload yourself with too many players. Okay, yeah. So if you're making a bit of a party, that's cool. That's really nice. And yeah, run a published adventure. There you go. That's a good bit of advice. So you're prepping for a set planning. Are they gonna make notes, craft encounters? Okay. Oh boy, random encounters. Okay. Okay, things you need to have: dice, paper and pencils, play space, and the other 2 books. Paper pencils or digital equivalent. Okay. Things that might be nice to have. Grid, character sheets, GM screen, minis, and snacks. Snacks are always good. I feel like snacks should be a need, but okay. Da 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 da. Here's all the things. Planning session. Yeah, we're gonna. Okay, rule of cool. There we go. That's a good thing to make sure people are aware of. New GMs, at least. Okie doke. Da da da. Scheduling session length. That's yeah. Definitely something to think about. Making a David play. Yeah. Okay. Not sure. What is this? Metal lever on stone has 3 markings on the wall behind it, depicting a rectangle with 3 lines, a blank rectangle, and 3 parallel lines. Which way the lever is set. Okay. Yeah, okay. This is yeah. Sometimes things fall apart. Yep. Yeah. Moving on. Yeah, okay, okay. So dark fantasy and grimdark. I'm curious as to dark fantasy presents exploration, darker theme. Da da da. Related grimdark subgenre, as the name suggests, introduces more of a bleak and sometimes desperate element to a fantasy setting. It's the hallmark of such stories, and as such, life in grimdark setting is full of peril, from everyday threat of famine and disease to larger dangers of constant war and ever-present monsters in the woods. Cool. Yeah. Anyway, other options. Huh. Okay, science fantasy. I don't know if this is how you lose the timer. I don't know if I describe that as science fantasy, but I can see how you get that vibe. Admittedly, they don't really explain much of it. I don't know. That definitely that's definitely blurring the lines. I'll give you that. So weird fantasy, yada yada yada. Adventures, tiers of play. Yeah, this is all basically this unchanged. Da 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 da. Okay, setting campaigns. Oh boy, building a campaign. Da, da, da. Ah. Ooh, first act. Ooh, act structure for. We're using Lord of the Rings as a touchstone, which I get, which is good, but I also feel like we probably could have used a different example, but whatever. It's fine. Anyway, advice on structuring out a campaign. That's good stuff to include. World building. Yeah. Spiral outward. Hey, yeah. Collaborative world building. That's always always an option. Okay. Honestly, oh boy. In world, you might want to create your own. Oh god, that's always a problem for me because I am not an artist. Oh. Hello. This is the Game Master's Guide for Tales of the Valiant from Kobold Press. We're just getting into it. Thanks for commenting. So this is more about building. This is the little world building chapter. Or just tossing out, giving some ideas and stuff. but okay. Okay. This is their not D&D. Yeah, basically, more or less. I did say this earlier. I do appreciate that they released. The first Kickstarter they did for this was the Player's Book and the Monster Book, and they released those. And then they did the Game Master stuff later, because honestly, you don't really need. Looking through this, like, this is more. Here's extra rule. Well, right now it's, hey, here's some guidance for people who want to be game masters. But now I get to chapter 4 and it's like, okay, cool. Here's some additional rules that maybe we didn't include in the Player's Book, which is good because not on the one hand, not everything needs to be in the Player's Book, but also I think the Player's Book has all the rules you actually need. Theater of the Mind versus using your grid. That's pretty, yeah. Fair enough. Abstract. Okay, sure. Oh gosh. Okay, all right. Here we got some advice for combat building and combat encounter. Oh, hey. Game so far, I lost my interest when they published the game under a setting like name, but never had a chance to check it out seriously. Admittedly, I haven't really run it, but it seems like I like it. I did a whole video examining that stuff, which is on my YouTube channel, which is the same name I use here on Twitch. You can obviously check that out if you want a more. I've got, I think, 3 videos of it up. 3 videos. I think I did like 2 videos digging through, actually going through the Player's Book, and then had one video of okay, let's put these in action and try it out, and even run a quick combat with it. It's, admittedly, it is. Oh, hold up. Did I miss a thing? Encounter templates. Okay, that's actually really handy. But yeah, it's it's very much okay, if you're running a group, if you want to play 5e but you don't want to, but you're really mad at Wizards of the Coast for any number of justifiable reasons, this is a viable alternative if your group is particularly against learning any new system at all. So it's that there have been tweaks, there are differences, but it's, yeah, it is very much this is off-brand D&D. It's effectively the same, but honestly, I can't blame Kobold Press for doing that, because Kobold Press created a lot of 5e content, and they probably don't want all of that to suddenly now be, they'd probably still like people to buy all that stuff too. But anyway, okay, I'm kind of digging. I'm kind of liking this, if only because this bit of advice about encounter. encounter templates. I feel like this is really handy because I suck at building encounters. I'm just gonna admit that I'm not great at coming up with. I don't feel. I feel like I'm not great at doing the math and trying to balance things, and especially because, admittedly, you know, creating a balanced encounter is more of an art than a science. But still, it's good to be able to go like, okay, here's the number you have. Like, okay, here's the CR you have for about this. Okay, here's some examples of what you could do. Terrain, fun stuff to include on a map in combat. That's always nice. Special combat scenarios. Oh, fun. What is this? Large scale combat. Okay. Okay. That's something at least. Oh gosh. Oh gosh, you wrote a big thing. Okay. I totally get it. I actually stepped away from D&D style games around late 2021. All scandal popped up. Yeah. Turning more into story-oriented games that have horror elements. When I set up the English side of gaming world, I kind of focus that way, trying to learn other people's perspective about things. What kind of games are you running or playing? Well, whoa, hey, sorry. No, it's fine. Fine. This is, I'm flipping through this, but also I'm okay to just chat. I've been trying with my regular gaming group. I've been kind of trying to run a game of Night's Black Agents, which might be up your alley if you're looking for story-oriented investigation type sort of things. Honestly, anything from Pelgrane Press, anything of the Gumshoe games from Pelgrane Press. But if you're looking for specifically horror stuff, Night's Black Agents is spies versus vampires. Fear itself is, hey, your character's in a horror movie, basically. Esoterrorists, which is also technically set in the same universe as Fear itself, but whatever, is kind of Delta Green, but without all the ickiness of H.P. Lovecraft. And there's also Trail of Cthulhu, which is, it's the Cthulhu game. It's so, any of that stuff. There's a couple others they've also done. I think I don't know. Pelgrane Press. I will actually drop a link. I will actually drop a link to their. That is a link to their website. Obviously, if you're interested, if any of that sounds interesting, head over there, check it out. They also had released their own D&D D20 type fantasy game. They actually kickstarted a second edition of that. That's called 13th Age, which is more in the lines of like, okay, we are going to crank things up, make the characters feel bigger and more heroic, and that sort of thing. But anyway, now we're kind of getting to possible alternative rules. Run large complex combat encounters, often best to break them down into phases or waves. Phase combat combines several combat encounters together with no rest between. Okay. Okay, I was thinking this might be like an alternative initiative system because I've been looking at another game, but okay. Alright, that's some decent stuff. Okay. Siege combat, underwater combat, yeah, okay. Vehicle to vehicle combat, okay. Ooh, jumping from vehicle to vehicle, that's always fun. You gotta do stuff like that. Special monster scenarios. And again, I'm not disliking this stuff. And I guess, yeah, as far as my own personal gaming stuff goes, yeah, my success with running Night's Black Agents has been, I feel it has not been as successful as I wanted it to be. But, that I think that's because, it's not the kind of game that my group would, I feel like it's not necessarily the kind of game my group would was really into, but hey, they gave it a good go, and I'm not going to complain about that. I'm running a kind of shorter scenario. Always quite interesting. Never had a chance to take a closer look at Night's Black Agents, but checked others before. I think my jam is pretty much classic Cthulhu among them, but my all-time favorite is Cult. I am aware of Cult. I don't think I'd ever run Cult, and I don't know if I'd play Cult because it's just like that's on a level that from what I know, it's like, okay, that's on a level that I'm just not I'm not comfortable with that kind of stuff, and that's fine. Hey, different people like different games, and that's cool. I'm glad you like that. I'm glad you've enjoyed that. Sorry, still digging into Tales of the Valiant. Okay, minions and hordes. Ooh, it's like, yay, minion rules. Love me some minion rules. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Because if you want your players to feel like big damn heroes, nothing makes them feel more powerful and awesome than just mowing down a bunch of enemies. It's wonderful. Let's see. What is this? When the creature takes damage, it is destroyed regardless of the amount of damage it takes. You don't have to track damage done to an individual monster. If it takes damage, it's destroyed. Note monsters still have hit points for spells or abilities that don't deal damage, like sleep. Might even forgo tracking damage done to the minion unless the damage done is equal to or greater than its hit points, at which point it is destroyed. Treats minions' hit points as a damage threshold. If some sources... That's handy. Cleaving through minions. I love it. I love this. I love this stuff. I love this kind of thing. Okay, adjudicating attacks and effects. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, here's guidance for AoE in Theater of the Mind. That's potentially very handy. Edge cases, best practices. Simple monsters make good minions. Yeah, they do. Focus on inscriptions, make it epic. Okay, now we get to some fun variant rules. Ooh, so we got bloodied. Okay, that's automatically fun. Okay, so bloody. I did kind of look at this way when I first got this book. Okay, bloodied creature gets a +2 to its AC, but a -1 to all attack rolls. Has advantage on attack rolls, but other creatures have advantage on attack rolls against it. At the start of each turn, bloodied creature makes a wisdom save or flees. I really like this. I'd especially like this on like a boss monster or something, so it's like, okay, right, oh cool. Like, oh, right. Now you pissed it off. Now he's really mad. That's great. Oh, blade creature fails to save, it can choose to succeed instead. Once it's benefited from that, it can no longer... Can't do that again. If it gains bloody condition, automatically recharges one of its features that has a recharge. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Called shot rules, I've honestly kind of put some thought into doing that kind of thing myself as a house rule. Really glad, really happy they decided, the folks at Kobold Press thought to include that. This is, hey, let's make combat a little more fun. Let's see, we have things to do with do. Okay, the Monster Vault. Okay, resource based on encounter CR that you, the GM, gain at the start of a combat encounter. Additional options. Before an encounter, PC fails to check this. Ways to gain Doom before an encounter. Ways to gain Doom in an encounter. Spending Doom. Creature automatically succeeds on a save in lieu of a die roll. Could be used only once per encounter. Automatically succeeds on an attack roll once per encounter. Okay. Interesting. Okay, special melee attacks. Love this. Love this kind of thing. Give those melee folks more things to do than just hit the monsters. Like it. Okay. Dirty attack, overrun. Cool. Special melee attack to push through a space of a hostile creature you can see within 5 feet. Must have at least enough movement to remaining to fully move through the target space, and must be at least one unoccupied space that will fit you on the other side of the target. Make a strength athletics check versus the target strength athletics or dex acrobatics. You have advantage if you are larger than the target. Disadvantage if you're smaller. If you win, you move through the target space to an unoccupied space. On the other side, expending appropriate movement. Okay. If you win by 5 or more, you can choose to push the target 5 feet in the direction of your choice. If you fail by 5 or more, the target can choose to knock you prone. Okay, fair. Okay. Alternate things to... So yeah, okay. Pilfer, sure you can steal some random crap off of someone instead of making an attack. Make a special melee attack to force a creature you can see within 5 feet to move to another location. Ooh. Fun. Okay, shove, that's not really new. Special melee attack to weave through the space of a hostile creature within 5 feet. Okay, so this is the Dex version. This is the sneaky, slippery, Dexy version of Overrun. Okay. Let's see. Attack roll would have hit the cover target without the cover. It doesn't hit the target because of the cover's AC bonus. Attacker hits the cover instead, dealing damage to the object or structure. If a creature provides cover for target and the attack roll is high enough to hit the covering creature takes damage. Okay. Nice. Cool. Ooh. Okay, injuries, morale, nice. Injury tables, fun. Ooh, parry and defensive combat, that's okay. PC's opponents sometimes find like this. PC acting defensively can use any one of the following options. Okay. Creature wields a melee weapon with which it is proficient, can use its reaction to interpose the weapon between itself and a melee attack aimed at it, gaining a +2 to AC against the attack. Goes off momentum, causing it to have disadvantage on the next attack roll before the end of the next turn. Block or dodge blows at the cost of fighting prowess. Must decide to take this stance at the start of its turn. Gains a bonus to AC equal to half its proficiency bonus until the start of its next turn. In exchange, it doesn't add its proficiency bonus to attacks or takes a penalty equal to half proficiency if if it isn't proficient with the weapon. Takes action to make itself as hard to hit as possible. When using this action, attacks against have disadvantage and takes half damage from weapon attacks until the start of next turn. Can't use reactions while using focused defense. That's interesting. Nice options. Target shots. Okay. All right. Right. I've exploration rule stuff. Planar roads. Elemental planes. Okay. Ooh, cool. And shadow. Ooh, okay. Air travel, water travel, underwater. Yikes. Dungeons. Of course, we have to have dungeons. Oh boy. Function. What factions are present? Ooh. Random dungeon generator. Quick done. Okay. Not a terrible thing to have, though, you know. Dungeon stuff. Grief. Oh, wow. We're only not even like a third of the way through. Okay. Just gonna start getting weather rules, social stuff. Okay. Social rules. Creating more interesting NPCs. Rules for creating faction. Rules guidance for factions. Adventuring options. Oh boy. Yeah, yikes. Curses, diseases, hazards, and traps. Fun. And some examples of such. Ooh. Dread. Okay, cool. Oh, well, I guess, hold on. Downtime options, of course. Crafting magic items, brewing potions. Okay. Okay, see, that helps. That actually explains some things. Okay, geez. Crafting items. Level. Make scrolls. Dread. Interesting. Okay. Firearm rules, of course, because, hey, why not? Special gear, more magic items, always fun. Actually, yeah, okay, these are artifacts. There was only one artifact in the player's guide, but here we have a much nicer selection of, possible selection of, sample artifacts. Neat. And sentient magic items. Oh boy. Nothing more fun than an item with a personality. It's great. Okay, more expanded poison rules. Okay, samples of different types of poisons. All right. Rewards. Okay, yeah, obviously. Okay. Random stuff. Random stuff to get in addition to just treasure. More interesting types of treasure, at least. Sure. Okay. Treasure by tier. All right. Fair enough. More tables. Random magic items. Always fun. Siege weapon stuff. Sure. Moving on. Vehicles. Cool. Sure. Hold up. Okay, aerostat. Stat carriage. The Kobold Crawler. Oh, that's a nightmare. That's horrible. I hate it. And yet I also kind of like it. Old Nautilus. Runner raft. Steam-powered warship. Letter wing. More variant rules. Okay, okay, cool. Chase rules. Ooh. Alright, initiative variants. Okay, let's see. Passive initiative, yeah, that could be handy if you just want to get things moving quick. Quickly, team initiative, that could be interesting. Or if you want to make things really nasty, roll initiative. What is this? Due to a pattern with single initiative roll starts battle, this variant introduces randomness to combat, but adds to your bookkeeping when tracking initiative. At the beginning of each round, each creature rolls its initiative and acts in the updated order. Yikes. Initiative by ability check. Okay. Oh, here we go. Yep. Harvesting monster bits. Because, sure. I mean, there's a non-zero chance your players are going to want to harvest anything from the monsters that they can sell, especially early on, or that they can use. Why not? Glad we have some rules for that. Get some, or at least some guidance. Okay, now the homebrew stuff. Homebrewing rules. This is, I think I glanced at this stuff as well. Yeah. Glad we're... See, starting off with, yeah... You know, is this really needed? Can we do this with something that already exists, or can we tweak something that already exists instead of having to potentially build something from scratch? It's a good question to ask. Okay, so we have rules or at least guidance for creating for various character options, lineage, heritage, background. Talents. See, martial talents typically require PCs to have minimum strength or dex. Okay. Creating a subclass. This. Yeah, okay. This is something I'm interested in because I've actually done this. I've also designed my own class. That's at my website, or there's a link there at my website to my DM's Guild stuff. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, creating a subclass. Yeah, it needs to. Yeah, subclass is most character-defining feature of PCs, so it needs to have a strong idea that pervades the entire subclass. So yeah, that is. And I feel like it's also worth saying, like, yeah, subclass needs to have a distinct theme. You know, it needs to stand out a bit. You know, it needs to be kind of unique compared to the other subclass options, I guess. Which, yeah, gonna criticize Wizards of the Coast with 5e. There are definitely some subclasses that don't feel all that interesting or unique. Like, especially like some of the fighter options that came out later. It's like, okay, what makes this class, what differentiates this type of fight, what differentiates this type of this fighter subclass from this other fighter subclass? And I feel like some of them were not all that well done in the end. Glad they include advice for subclass stuff by class. So, like, hey, third level feature for a barbarian is probably should be related to the rage feature, either enhancing it or providing some kind of new bonus, or allowing them to do something interesting with rage. Bard's third level feature should do something with their bardic performance, should interact with their bardic performance feature in some way. Rangers start getting extra spells at third level. They should be related to whatever, try to fit the theme of the class. Rogue subclass that don't add a wholly new thematic feature, improve, or in some way change the rogue sneak attack or cunning action features. Okay, yeah. Again, I appreciate that they've included this guidance here because, especially for people who might be new to this sort of thing. Magic item, creating magic items, artifacts, oh boy. Available magic items, spells, oh boy. Yeah. Several pages of advice on spells. Hazards, modifying stat blocks for monsters. Okay, hey, obviously, easy solution. Just reskin something or take something and tweak it. If that isn't good enough, here's what things you can do to other stuff. Here's a way here's a couple of let's see, spellcasting template. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Here's a bunch of things you can add to make it really easy to customize monsters, and here's some examples. I really dig that. I really like this. I think this is really good and handy because, sometimes, yeah, I need to just drop some stuff. Hey, I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to figure out and tweaking the thing myself. Maybe just give me a list of options that would work. Different roles for NPCs. That's kind of handy. There's no way to go, okay. What is this? Sure, yeah. Tweak a monster by tweak an NPC or monster, presumably humanoid creature, by giving it a role. That's, again, this is really nice. It's making them a little more interesting. That's actually really cool. And then, hey, other templates. Hey, here's how to turn any creature into a skeleton version of itself. Awesome. Construct option. Construct. Threadbound? Okay. Weird. Interesting. Here's how to turn any creature into a zombie. Awesome. I dig it. And then finally, hey, yeah, here's just building a creature from the ground up. Because, ooh boy, that's going to take a bit. The giant table of reference. Oof. Point adjustments, special rules, creature type, features, da 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 da, okie dokie. Oh my gosh. There's still like 50 more pages to go. My gosh. Okay. Okay. And now we've reached the appendices. So yeah. Hey. Random encounters based on different types of terrain. Yada yada yada. Some of them more interesting than others. Random campaign dressing. Okay. So just stuff to run into. Instant town generator. I like it. It's handy, potentially. Mildly magical curios. A deck of cards that shuffles itself. That's nice. Okay, so this is the... Oh. Oh, this is fun. I like this. I like that. Oh, I like this chart. I like this table. I like this table because this is exactly like when Xanathar's Guide to Everything came out for 5e, and it had the common magic items, and it was just like, here's a list, and it was basically like, here's a list of, you know, mostly has no mechanical effect, but it's a bunch of just random magical crap, and it all does. But it's like, okay, this is exactly the kind of stuff that I know my players would want. Like at least some of this for sure. At least. A bouquet of dried roses that become fresh and rejuvenated when flourished. Sure. Porcelain rabbit that animates and hops in a circle when you set on a flat surface. That's cute. Set of crystal salt and pepper shakers that never need to be refilled. They cannot provide more than 26 ounces of salt or pepper in a 24-hour period. Fair. 4 3-inch tin soldiers that animate and skirmish when you yell to arms. A self-cleaning handkerchief. Great. Army knives that never get dull. Cookie jar that always looks empty at first glance. Ooh, that's mean. Gray wool socks that stay warm and dry no matter the traveling conditions. It's great. Where was that one? Yeah. Petticoat that gives your skirt just the right amount of swirl when you twirl. I'm absolutely certain. Some of my... It's like, that's like... Yeah, of course, this is the kind of dumb shit that everyone would want to have. Trinkets and treasures, yada yada yada. Random stuff to find in a castle. Cool. Environmental encounters. Neat. And hey, here's a bunch of stuff to check out if you want some inspiration. I love it. Okay. I'm actually going to look at this and see if there's anything I particularly recognize. Ooh. 3 Hearts and 3 Lions. Definitely recommend that. Heartily recommend reading that book. Wolf and Cub, 9 Princes in Amber, and the rest of the Amber's Chronicles. Crystal Cave by Martha Stewart. 70. Looks like the original run on Red Sonja. Oceanara, okay. Oh, wow. This goes on for a bit, doesn't it? Oh. Oof, wow. Salzburg Castle. Red Wall. The Queen. Ooh, Malazan. That's, yeah. Oh wow, this goes on for a while, doesn't it? Oh wow, so many pages. Oh gosh. Hey, The Dragon's Path by Daniel in the Dagger and Coin series by Daniel Abraham. I don't think I've ever seen that written up anywhere. Anywhere. That's cool. Oh, okay. Finally. Film and TV. Ooh, Dragon Slayer. Yes. Watch Dragon Slayer. Find it. Buy it. Watch it. It's great. I love it. It is admittedly kind of darker, grittier fantasy, but I feel like it's so good. The dragon in that is just so amazing. I question the recommendation of the Red Sonja movie, but okay. Ooh, Pirates of Darkwater. Fun. Da, da, da. It's definitely the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Okay. Again, I'm not, well, that's more of a is that eh. Okay, Legend of Vox Machina, that's cool. Oh, the 2023 D&D movie. Okay, sure. Fair enough. All right. Games. Ooh, any fun video games I recommend? Any that I really recognize and go like, ooh yeah, ooh, Planescape Torment, yes. Let's see. Elder Scrolls, Dungeons and Dragons games, Diablo, Baldur's Gate. So we could Baldur's Gate, the first Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 3, not it's like and the Baldur's Gate series. I mean, okay, but there was a Baldur's Gate 2. Arcanum of Steamworks and Magic Obscura, very nice, very fun, cool. Ooh, Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. I remember I had that. I played that for a while. Never really finished it, but I enjoyed that for what it was. Ooh, Dragon Age. Yes. Darkest Dungeon. Okay, interesting. And of course, nonfiction. Sure, Joseph Campbell. Kobold Guide to Game Design and the Kobold Games series. Well, of course they would push that stuff. Life in a Medieval City, Ultimate RPG Character Backstory Guide. The monsters know what they're doing. Combat tactics for dungeon masters. Nice. Okay. Alright, and then index. Alright. Okay. So yeah, I think that's gonna sorry, I don't know if it's my throat dry or something else. Okay. So, but so that is the Game Master's Guide for Tales of the Valiant. And I I like it. I like that it doesn't, you know, it certainly does not feel like you don't need it in order to play the game, and I appreciate that because these books are expensive enough. These kind of books are expensive enough as is, and while I can appreciate, but I can also appreciate wanting to separate. Not like on the one hand, I do like that. Okay, you only need to have this one book in order to play the game. At the same time, I can understand wanting to separate out, okay, here's all the rules and stuff that you need, and here's all the monsters that you might need, because then you can say, okay, here you guys can have this one, and you can do your stuff. I need this one so I can look stuff up, that kind of thing. But yeah, and I do appreciate some of the alternate rules they included. Some of those I think they look very fun. It certainly would make the game more interesting. And again, it's a guide. It's not necessary. It's a guide, not a rule book. So it is like, okay, here's options. Here's stuff to do. Here's things that might make your game more interesting. Here's advice on how to do this or this, that, or the other thing, whatever you want to do. We have a couple chapters specifically devoted to, hey, if you're new to this, here's some advice. We start off with hey, we're gonna, here's, if you're totally new to this sort of thing, you've never done this before, here's some things you might want to try doing to make your life a little bit easier. Again, I like it. I like it. I think it's a solid product. I'm glad I backed that Kickstarter. Again, I don't feel it's not necessary if you just want to play the game, but it could be handy to have. But that is going to be it from me this week. I might stream next Thursday just to start off the new game I wanted to stream for October, because I don't want to, because I'm gonna be busy Friday all next weekend, so I will not be streaming next Friday. Thank you to, I don't know, I'm not sure, I don't want to mispronounce your name, but thank you, person who showed up for interacting. I know this might not, you weren't necessarily looking for this stuff, but hey, I do like it when people pop up and have things to say. Normally I do stream games, though I do occasionally take a look at tabletop game books and stuff. There's another one I've been looking at or taking a closer look at recently, and I might show that off at some point. I might dig into that. Otherwise, you can find me at Librarian Writer Geek on Twitch and YouTube. I've got all my other stuff regarding Tales of the Valiant and a whole bunch of other things over there. So check that out. Here is my personal website where you can find links to all my stuff and all the things I do. I try to post some things there. I've tried to get into the habit of posting every 2 weeks, but for a little while now I've only been posting like once a month. I did just post something this week though, so yeah. And this is my Blue Sky account, name, handle, whatever account. If you're on there and you want to follow me for some reason, that's it. Blue Sky is really the only social media I'm seriously active on. there's a couple other, like, I'm on Facebook, but I mostly use that for wasting time at work, or there's a couple or like keeping up with my family. I technically have an Instagram account, but I barely post there as well. I have a Twitter account, but it's now locked down, and I don't post there, and I don't log in there because Twitter is just increasingly becoming a cesspool. Okay. With all that said, though, I've had a pretty good time, certainly better than last night's stream. I hope anybody watching this had fun as well. Hey. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Good night, good night, whatever. Have a good one. Bye.